everyone, this is Eli J. Brown / Eli J. Brony, and welcome to a review on the first series of Glatorian sets that came out during the winter time of 2009. And this series of sets is simply called Glatorian. The series of sets, since these were the first series of Glatorian sets to be released, we do get another series that is entitled Glatorian Legends, but I will look over them in a later video. So, they pretty much have quite a number of differences, so I'm not going to go over all of the details, because I want to go over these and to try to make the video be as short as I possibly can make it, though I'm not quite sure if I'm going to succeed, but I will try to give the general idea of each of these figures. Anyway, the Glatorian sets, much like the sets that we've gotten with the Toa as well as the villain characters, is pretty much the same as it has been for the past couple of years, continuing the trend of using the Inika build, which has been going on for quite some time up to this point. They're still using the same Toa Inika main body pieces. They're still using the same arm and leg pieces as they have been using. So I'm not going to go over exactly what had been used. You can plainly see what has been used if you look at these figures and compare them to the earlier figures. But anyway, I'm going to go over what makes each of these characters unique, such as looking over some new recolors, looking over some new parts in general, whether that be new specifically for the figure or new for the entire series. Alright, so I'm going to take a couple of these guys out so we can focus on one character at a time like we have been doing. And the first character that I will be looking over is Borox. Alright, so Borox is a member of the Sand Tribe. This is actually a representation of a whole series of creatures. This is not one specific character. And I'm not quite sure what the backstory is, but I think these guys were once ordinary Glatorian, and, well, I think they mutated or something into these scorpion-like creatures. All of the Glatorian have a counter on their backs, well, most of them do, but Borox, along with Skrull, actually has theirs on their feet, mostly because there's no room to put it on the back, because of this stinger tail that is right here. One recolor that we do get in the series, a tan Bionicle Toa series foot. I'm not quite sure if we've had this piece already in this color, but I'm pretty sure that it's new for a Bionicle set. I think that it had been shown in maybe some of the earlier Technic Star Wars sets. Borox has this much longer neck. He's not using the new piece that's used for the necks on most of the other Glatorian. And some other recolors would include the tan arm and leg pieces, tan feet, the clawed feet. Some pieces that are new are these armor pieces, the tan and brown molded pieces. So this pretty much is one of the last Bionicle sets in Generation 1 where we have some brown, but not entirely. And Borox has a scorpion-like mask with these pinchers, but of course he has the same head, like all of them, underneath. But, scorpion mask right there. And he carries one of these weapon pieces in this hand, and the thorax launcher. Next up, we are looking at Skrull. Skrull is one of the bad guys of the 2009 storyline. This is also supposed to be a representation of a group of the Skrull. This is not supposed to be one specific character, although I think that it's... Well, maybe it is, but I think this is... Well, there's a whole group of Skrulls, so I personally think that this is a representation of a group, not one specific character. Skrull is primarily black and has an accent of red, which is one of the common themes in regards to the scroll. Much like Borok's, his counter is on his foot rather than his back, which is odd because they were the only two Glatorian figures that I've looked over so far, and there's also a bit of dust. He has this buzzsaw piece used, and he also has the same armor pieces that Borok has, except primarily in black, well, entirely in black. Two of them are used on his feet, and one is used on his chest, and he's kind of built the same way as Mantax, almost. He also includes a couple of these new weapon pieces, which were also shown on Atticus, and then there's this weapon piece right here. We've got the same blade piece that's used on the shoulders. We also have one of the Mari Nui Matoro claw pieces used on the end, and the thorax launcher is actually used on the weapon blade itself. That is Borok. Next up down the line, we have Malam, who I think is supposed to be an anti-hero of this group. I don't think he's an actual villain character, so that's why I'm referring to him as an anti-hero. Story-wise, he was exiled because he tried to kill off Strax, another Glatorian, which we will look over later in this video. And he wandered into the desert and came across a group of Boroks, and he became their leader. Malam is very short compared to the other Glatorian. He uses the Baki leg pieces as well as the shorter joints, not the much longer ones like the others have. And his counter is on his back, which is the usual way to place the counter. And his Thorax launcher is added on his shoulder right here instead of in his hand, because he has these things as his hands, these large claws. As for the armor is concerned, his shoulder armor is the same feet pieces as what was used for Palma in the Baraki series. And then we have what is new in dark red are the Toa Horgika feet pieces. Malam also has a new color for the chest armor. It's a mold of red and heat orange. And he also has this mask, which is a new mask, and it's specific to him. It has this flames coming out of his back, since he is, or was, a Glatorian of the Fire Tribe, up until he was exiled. Didn't make much of an impact in the story. He didn't appear in the movie, though. So, that is Malam right there. Next up, we have Strax, who I mentioned before. This is another anti-hero of the Glatorian series. He was exiled for trying to kill a car, which was shown in Legend Reborn, the movie. And he has these ice features, such as on his mask, having these little ice things coming out of the back of his mask, and these ice armor pieces, which are new. And he also carries this ice in his hand right here. And his body is built a little bit differently than what we are used to. So that is Strax, quite an unusually built character, but that's him. Next up in the series we have Tareq, and I am going to also point out that Tareq is the very first heroic character to be released in a canister that is blue. Every other character that was blue that was released in the canister was either female or was a villain. Tareq is the first male hero to be blue and be released in a canister set. So, a couple of new colors for Tareq. He has the standard Mata Blue feet pieces, the same ones used in the Toa Nika series. Some new pieces would include these gold and translucent blue blade pieces. Also has the gold armor pieces on his knees and also on his shoulders, as well as also on his torso. And his Thorax launcher is, well, attached to one of his blades. And he also has this, he has these spikes coming out of his shoulders, and he also has this tube that connects to his mask over onto his back, which is odd because I don't think there is any point in the story in which he actually swims underwater, despite being a member of the Water Tribe. Kind of makes him look like a Toa Mari almost. So that is Tareq. And then finally, we get to Gresh, who is one of the main characters of the storyline. He was one of the main characters for Legend Reborn. Gresh is a rookie member of the Glatorian. He is in training, well, he was during the story. And he also would appear again in the Bionicle Star series in 2010. And as for some new pieces that he includes, as well as recolors, I believe the feet are new in lime green, and these wing pieces, these claw pieces, are on his legs and on his shoulders. I believe that those are new in lime green, and I also think that the Paraka knee pieces are also new in lime green. I don't think those were released in that color before. And he also has a entirely dark green main torso piece from the Toa Nika series. We have had this piece in dark green, but it was marbled before, but now we have it entirely in dark green. As for new pieces, he has these blade pieces that he holds in his hand, and then he has the Thornax launcher, which of course is not specific to him, it is the common theme for the series. And then the mask, it's a marbled mix between lime green and dark green. And of course we would get this mask again with his 2010 version, except that would be entirely lime green. So, all of these characters are quite fascinating ones. It was certainly an interesting step where we do things a little bit differently than we had been doing for the past couple of years. You know, with us going into a different world than the one that we had been in for the past 8 years up until this point. And it certainly is quite interesting how we certainly get something that we usually did not get, having these variety of different characters originating from various different places, and having them not actually be part of a specific group, but much rather were just a group of characters that appeared in the storyline. And of course, we would get some similarities between them and the later characters that came out during the summertime of 2009, the Glatorian Legends series. So, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you again next time.